As another game week draws to a close, we have confirmed the first side dropping out of the Premier League this season. And boy, they haven't been great, have they? Sheffield United confirmed this weekend to be departing the Premier League. And I don't think anybody is going to miss them. Welcome back to West Ham. Official. Hope you are all the Premier League round. I think it's been a few weeks since we've all been together. So a very good evening to the usuals. Josh and Sean, how are we, lads?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Sean, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm bearing up, mate. Not too bad.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. See, Sean's got some devotion. He's come here. He's got a bit of a cold, but do you know what? He's sucked it up and he's came nevertheless. Sean.
Yeah, I'm here, mate. Always here if I can be.
Good stuff. Let's see who's joining us in the chat. Josh's granddad was in nice and early, of course. Good weekend good week for Everton after the Wednesday, and then the game on Saturday evening. Dyche better than Moyes. It's picking the best out of a bad bunch, isn't it? Of course, they don't like Moyes up there. They don't mind him. So he's a safe pair of hands, and at times a bit too safe. We know that all too well. Terry, thanks for joining us. We'll have a little bit of a relegation debate a little bit later on. Terry's referred to just calling you two by your clubs. So yeah, cheers to usual suspect as well. Hope you are well. Let's get cracking. West Ham first this weekend, of course. The infamous Klopp 12:30 kickoff, and well, I think Everton ended the title hopes on Wednesday night, but we solidified that, I think, by taking a point off of Liverpool. I thought it was, the commentators kept saying how flat the game was, and they seemed surprised by it. They clearly haven't watched West Ham too much this season, because that's what it's been like pretty much most weeks. So it was no surprise to any of us the way the game panned out. I thought Liverpool were bang average. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Not fantastic. I know they made some changes as a response to the defeat on Merseyside on Wednesday night, but they weren't great at all. They let the side out of ideas. Klopp looked tired, to be honest with you, and we had a few chances to actually go on and win it towards the end as well. So yeah, I was happy with the point. It felt like we could have had more. We invited too much pressure at the start of the second half, which led to them getting back into the game, which is what we didn't want to do, and we did do that, unfortunately. So that allowed Liverpool back into the game. But look, I would have taken a point before, and that's exactly what we got. A point against Liverpool. Any point against Liverpool is a decent point in our position. So yeah, I was relatively happy with that. Josh, any thoughts?
Yeah, I thought both teams were poor, to be honest. I thought, just the classic 12:30 kickoff. It was really flat. You couldn't hear a thing. Even once West Ham scored and Liverpool scored, the atmosphere was really flat throughout the whole game. But to be honest, apart from about 10 minutes after West Ham scored, I thought the intensity of the game, it wasn't great at all. And I think the atmosphere definitely impacted that. I think Liverpool, they've sort of just give up, haven't they? I think that United FA Cup game derailed everything, and then Everton definitely put to bed the title hopes. So yeah, I think they've sort of just give up now, Liverpool. As for West Ham, I thought it was really poor, to be honest, and I don't really know how I ended up taking a point. The Antonio header second half sort of come out of nothing. And although I didn't think Liverpool were great, they could have been out of sight. Second half, they had some really good chances, and that's been the story of the second half of the season, really. They haven't been clinical enough. You've seen City, which we'll get on to later. Yesterday, they didn't play great. They took the chances, and that's probably why they're going to win the league. And that could be the difference. But yeah, it wasn't a great game.
No, it wasn't. And it never really was going to be in the vein of form that Liverpool have sort of been in since the sort of collapse. Now, look, I've just had a look at the stats, and there wasn't a hell of a lot of, obviously, possession was dominated by Liverpool, but they didn't do a hell of a lot. I think they hit the post once at the bar, but apart from that, it just struck me a side that had run out of steam, if I'm totally honest. And listen, we all knew what to expect from West Ham. We've been pretty awful for a considerable amount of weeks, barring 40 minutes against Leverkusen, if we're being totally honest. And I thought Liverpool sort of stooped down to our level, which was quite amusing, actually. And it ended a draw, which I thought was relatively fair on balance of chances in the game. It's really not going your way, Sean, because you've now got to try and eke 60 seconds that are probably the most uninfluential game that will ever happen in Premier League history. Fulham won, Crystal Palace won. Now, look, I think Palace will be up there next season. I've been impressed with them under Glasner. But this game is your typical nothing to play for on the beach 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I think they both shook on this result before it even kicked off. But yeah, I think Glasner's done well since he's gone in. I think one of the more of the form sides since he's gone in. We never know. We see it every week. Don't know what to get from Fulham. But to be honest, obviously this game wasn't on TV, but I watched probably more Premier League football than I usually do this weekend live. And I had a real sense of general feeling that the league was winding down a little bit for the first time.
Yeah.
And it not just the Liverpool-West Ham game, which was quiet. The stadium was quiet. I know you get a lot of tourists in the ground, but I noticed when you scored first, didn't you, I believe? You got the goal. And the camera sort of panned on a father and son just politely clapping. And I thought, well, that sort of sums up where the season probably is. And like you said, this game here, Fulham Palace, it's just this stage of the season, both of them easily say it's just a little day out, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I bet Palace fans enjoyed the little trip to Craven Cottage. But yeah, in general, I just felt, a few teams are winding down. There's probably not many sides with a lot to play for really now. Or the sides are playing for a bit are probably quite content what they've got and are not that bothered about pushing the boat out to stretch the season a little bit more. So yeah, it just felt like a bit of a flat weekend in general to me, not just the West Ham game. I don't know anything about this Fulham Palace game. I'm sure it wasn't an exciting affair. It just felt like to me, we got half a dozen games to go at the most, is it something like that?
There's 4 or 5 at the most, isn't it? Yeah.
Just felt like a lot of teams are, right, that'll almost do us sort of thing. And already the rumours for next season are well underway, aren't they? Like who's re-signed? I just read that West Ham have offered Cresswell a new deal and he's turned it down. So that's the latest one I read. So yeah, I think give it the next couple of weeks, the press will just turn their attention to next season, really, because we know how this season usually ends. So, but yeah, it's slowly winding down now, I fancy, in general.
Yeah, very good, Sean, to have that game and not talk about it for more than 10 seconds. I commend you for that. Didn't Palace score a screamer? I've got no idea. I didn't even know this game happened until I typed out the results about 11 minutes ago. I dozed off during match of the day. I can't even believe you watched. Who watches match of the day nowadays? Honestly, come on, Terry, come on. Only when it's a brilliant win would I even tempt to put match of the day on. But anyway, next up, let's go to Old Trafford. Manchester United won, Burnley won. They're giving themselves the glimmer. Josh, are the Clarets?
Yeah, they're definitely back in the hunt now. I think it's a 2 or 3 points off. They are. They're still throwing silly goals away. And seeing the Man United goal was another mistake from playing out from the back. And I just think where would Burnley be if they actually sort of played to the strengths and used the right system? Because I know they've done it a few times, and against Everton the other week with a goalie made a mistake playing out from the back. They did one the other week against Brighton, which cost them 3 points, where it ran under the goalie's foot and went into the back of the net. So you just think, where would you be if they just sort of actually played like the team is fighting for survival and not like a tippy-tappy team like Man City, because they're not that, and they've cost themselves so many goals because of it this season, and it could send them down. But they've definitely given it a good go. I think that's one loss in about 7 or 8 now. So yeah, without poor Forest and Luton, you don't know. I think that's only 1 win now, and out the bottom 3. I'm not sure what games they've got. I haven't looked. But no, they're having a good go. As for United, I believe they've booed off again. They just about got past Sheffield United in a week. I know they were losing twice to them at home, and I think one of the goals getting back level was a penalty, and then I seen a 2-2. Sheffield United apparently missed a sitter. I was looking on BBC, so yeah, they could have easily lost to bottom of the league, Sheffield United, which is just unbelievable, really, and just shows where they are at the moment. I've seen Ten Hag come out after the game mode and say we haven't had the decisions this season.
He also did say, Ten Hag, that he believes they're one of the most expansive teams in the league, which baffled a few.
No, Ten Hag come out last season after about 2 games when they got battered. They were getting battered and saying, I can't play the way I played with Ajax in this league, because he realised as soon as they tried to, they would get battered playing that way, and that's why they just can't now. So, yeah, I just think under Ten Hag, they're never going to get above 4th at the most. Playing that way, it's just pure transitional football. That's it. And that's what I think Liverpool fans should be worried about Slot, because an attractive style manager coming from the Eredivisie, that was meant to be Ten Hag, and his track record looked better than Slot's, but I suppose he's going to have a better side. Yeah, I'm going massively off topic here, but now as for the game, I can't say I watched much of it, to be honest. I see it barely got a late penalty for Onana, flattering the player just like he did against Wolves on the first day, but this time it's actually given. And I'm doing, he slotted it away in the last minute, and can't say I see much else. I think Anthony scored, but yeah, it's not great for United. I think they're stuck in 6th now. 5th won't be enough to get in Champions League. Not that they get it anyway, I think about 10 or 11 points off. So yeah, it's been disappointing for them, but I would like to see him end up in that Conference League. I think they're only a point to clear ahead of Newcastle.
I'd like that, yeah. If we don't get it, I'd love Man United to get it, because that would be hilarious. But, Josh, as we found out over the last couple of weeks, an expansive, exciting style of football doesn't always work. We'll come on to that a little bit later on. A few Spurs fans getting a little bit angry, Sean, I've noticed. We'll discuss that a little bit later. Let's take some of your comments before we carry on. I turned off Match of the Day when they said Klopp is leaving. Well, that was inside 60 seconds probably then. Yeah, exactly. Klopp off. Who mentioned it? Nobody really, have they? Right, let's move on. Next up, Sean. Newcastle 5, Sheffield United won the confirmation of the Blades back down to the Championship, and that is a 13-1 score line on aggregate between Newcastle and Sheffield United this season, of course, after they beat them 8-0 at Bramall Lane earlier on. Just about sums it up for Sheffield United, doesn't it?
Yeah, they went 1-0 up as well, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, inside 6 minutes, yeah.
I hope they don't come back up anytime soon. That's the first thing. That I'm not a fan of a yo-yo side anyway. We tend to see the same sort of size yo-yo up. If you look at the Championship, or if you look at the top 8, who's going to go up automatically on the playoffs, it's the usual suspects. I know a hell of a lot of the league have been in the Premier League, but I think it'll do clubs a lot of good to go down for a couple of years, not just try and yo-yo straight back up. They've been pathetic, haven't they? Let's be honest. I think most of us expected probably Luton to be the bottom side, but it's been an example of the gulfing class between the two leagues. Like I don't know. Newcastle can turn it on a day. We know they can, but they haven't exactly been an exceptional side. And what would you say, 13-1 aggregate? That almost makes them look like a League One side, Sheffield United. You know, that is the results they've had. I think they've had a hiding quite a few times at home. They've been a very, very poor side. I don't think they've quite got as low a total as what Derby did a few years back, or Swindon, that sort of level. But
Derby got 12, didn't they? Did they get 12, Derby?
Something like that. I think
16 they're on Sheffield United.
I might be wrong, but I want to say Swindon had the most goals conceded. Was it over 100 or something? I don't know. Sheffield United have been up and down a couple of times in the last 5 or 6 years. So I don't know. Maybe part of me thought they might be a little bit better than this. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a little bit of Premier League experience about you, well, they went down and sacked the manager. They come back out with a different manager, sacked him, and reappointed the manager who was sacked for the first time. So that just tells you they weren't very well prepared to start with. Do you know what I mean? So if clubs are going to come out, I know it's tough. I know it's very tough. The gap is tough to bridge over, but teams do it. Do you know what I mean? We've seen Fulham do it a couple of times, go up and down, then stay where they are. We've seen Bournemouth go down and come up and sort of stay where they are. It's almost like they go down and rebuild and come back a little bit more prepared. This, I feel like, it's almost like caught Sheffield United by surprise a little bit coming up, but they're just nowhere near ready. As to Newcastle, I think they've been one of those teams in the league where I think it's been a funny season for them, really. I said most of last season and at the start of this, I thought they got Champions League by default a little bit, by some big clubs just underperforming, going for a rebuild. So they sort of snuck in there with that little sort of lift that the club got from the money. I think where they've settled this year is probably where you'd think they should be. I'll be honest, I don't know what their financial situation is. Same as Villa, I don't know what their financial situation is, whether the new rules coming in will change it anytime soon. You hear a few clubs like this sort of level, they might have to sell. So I don't know what's happened with Villa, Newcastle, whether they need to sell in the summer, I don't know. But it's strange times for the big clubs who are doing well. And then they got to have a little setback because they need to find some money to go again. But interesting to see what Newcastle do. Whether the new rules coming in, whenever they come in, helps them out, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Just one thing on Newcastle. I was thinking this because a couple of people on Twitter mentioned it, is that a lot of the big clubs are lacking a striker up front. I think you could put Chelsea, Arsenal, probably Spurs into that category. If they want to go for it, I'd be looking at the lad leading the line for Newcastle, Alexander Isak. I think he's been excellent this season. Gone under the radar a little bit.
I got a lot of very close friends who are Arsenal fans. Most of my close football friends are Arsenal fans. And I've told them, and a few of them agree with me, Isaac's a ready-made forward for them.
Yeah.
He's got that little bit of skill that Henry maybe had. He's strong. He's quick. He's ready-made for them, if I'm honest. Like I said, I don't know whether a few of the clubs like Newcastle have to sell. But if I was one of the top clubs looking for a striker, I would chuck in £100 million bid and see if it stuck. I think he could be good enough to be like. I don't even know how many he's got this year. So it could be sounding silly. I think he's up there that could be going for golden boots. I think he's got that level of class. Like, I know the likes of Watkins has had a great season. I know Tony. Some people like him, some people don't. I think Isaac's a level above both of those, in my opinion. And I think he's only 24, 25. He would be the one I'd go for if he might be available. I'm sure a few clubs will be sniffing out of them. They need the money.
Excellent striker. Josh, we're just going to chuck you a few bob and we'll take Watkins off your hands this summer. Don't worry about that one. We'll go to Molineux next. Before we do, we'll take some comments. Josh, you're next with Wolves 2. Luton wants to get your mind churning about that fascinating affair. But before we come to you, let's take some of your comments. Anyone know what happened between Klopp and Salah? I don't know. It seemed pretty minor, didn't it? It was rather amusing to watch in real time as they brought it up on the screen and Darren Fletcher went, "Oh, what's going on here?" It was a little bit unprecedented. But I don't think anything massively came of that. Newcastle, as a majority of the clubs have had injury troubles this season. Absolutely. I saw the Premier League clubs have voted in favour of developing plans to introduce a spending cap and a wage cap. 16 clubs voted for this. The 4 clubs who didn't, I bet we could all name them right here, right now, because they just want to spend and spend and spend and get away with it. But that is a debate for another day. Josh, Wolves 2, Luton 1. They keep losing narrowly, Luton, and they need points desperately.
Yeah, we said it last week after they got battered by Brentford.
Yeah, true.
Again, I think it's another one like, these are the type of games you've got to win in. Wolves, I don't think if they won one since after the international break. They've been in really poor form. They've got some key players missing. They've been in some shocking form. I just think you've got to try and take at least a point. And it looks like they're absolutely battered from what I've seen on the highlights. They just haven't got that Premier League quality. They had a good spell between about Christmas and March where they just giving everything, and they were giving everyone a game. But not recently. I think it's something like 1 win in 10 or 2 in 15, something like that. I said it last week, and I probably give Burnley more of a shot now. If you look at their form, it's a lot better than theirs. I don't know if they've got to play each other still. I don't think they have, but I might be wrong. And they have Everton on Friday night as well, who are also in very good form, so that won't be easy for them. It's looking bleak now. The only consolation you've got really is that they're still a point off. I don't know how. It just shows how bad the rest of the league have been. I think it should be 5 points off for the 5 point deduction, but I think their appeal, I heard it's going to be done quite soon, so I don't know if they'll get any off. but it won't be more than 1 or 2, so that shouldn't make a massive lot of difference. But no, as for Luton, it's just I can't see where they're going to get the points from. They just have quality. Carlton Morris up front, he misses far too many chances. I think he was playing with someone like Barnsley in League One 2 years ago. So that it just sums it up really. As for Wolves, they seem sort of over. It looked like they had a good shot at Europe going into the running, but as I say, they've been on a poor run of form, and I think they're about 6 or 7 points adrift now, and I think teams in hand on them. So I don't even know if it's mathematically possible for them to get Europe now. But they've still massively overachieved. Wolves, Gary O'Neill's done a great job. Most people had them to go down. So yeah, it's quite a forgettable game, to be honest. I can't say I've seen much of it, just like most of the 3 o'clock ones. But yeah, it's looking bleak for Luton.
It is. I've just had a look. They've lost by 1 goal 6 times this calendar year, Luton. There's been some batterings in there as well. They've just been close, but not quite close enough. And look, I think most people, if you were going to put some money on it, you'd have it on Burnley. They've got a bit of momentum about them. And look, I've just looked at Luton's remaining games. They haven't got to play any big guns. They've got Everton, us on the beach properly, and then Fulham on the final day at home. See, on the final day, Burnley are hosting Forest and Luton are home to Fulham. It's a game. Both games are winnable for Burnley. Oh my God! Both games are winnable for Burnley and Luton. If they need a win at Kenilworth Road, they'll make it. They'll make it happen there. It's going to be an interesting final day if it is down to that. Look at this. Look. Forget the first 2 statements and out.
That's not a very bright and very short-sighted comment. That, to be honest.
We'll come on to that a little bit later on. Even we've got a smile out of Josh there as well. So happy for Leicester. Just need Leeds and Southampton back. Sheffield United, Burnley, Luton are terrible. Can't even upset anyone. No wonder. I mean they haven't been great. We all know that. Leicester are up. I quite like Leeds to come up because we haven't been there. So that's another ground to tick off. And Southampton geographically for us is an absolute dream. So bring them back up as well. Right, let's move on, shall we? And we will go, where are we going next? To Goodison Park. Everton 1, Brentford 0. I watched this game. It was quite painful, to be honest. It was 2 sides. Sky really wanted to build this up for like a relegation 6-pointer, and they're both safe. It didn't matter. And I struggled, to be honest. I was just getting ready for the Villa Chelsea game to go on because this game didn't quite live up to the expectations, Sean, did it?
No, it was very bad. I'll be honest. I think I only just, games like this really bad. You tend to watch less. To be honest, I wanted to put on. I think Britain's Got Talent was on starting the other night, but I wasn't able to turn it over. And then they scored. Everton scored, but I know everyone gets their turn on the TV, but I just think a Saturday tea time game has probably got to be a bit. I'd reserve that for a higher quality football match, if that makes sense. I just don't think the kickoff time suits a match like this. Obviously, Everton have ground it out when it matters the last week. But they're not. They're doing exactly that. They're grinding it out, aren't they? It was never going to be a pretty game, and I just about hung on and watched the Villa Chelsea game as well. I know I'm sounding moany, but I don't like the Saturday evening game either. I just think it just drags on the football day a little bit too much for my liking, to be honest with you. But yeah, Everton look like they're safe. Well, they are safe, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Did they? I don't know what's going on with this points deduction thing. Did they get an appeal hearing? But so that means they'll probably have the new stadium in the Premier League. I don't know if that's them out of the deep water.
They might not though, because they're not moving into it next season, are they? Is it the season after? So
Season after, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really? I'm gonna say I've seen them. They must be, when I see like go follow it on Twitter. Yeah, like
I get what you mean.
The ground, I thought they're putting. It's nearly all full of seats now. So
no, it's the season after. They are opening it up. Yeah.
What's the hold up there then? I don't know.
Actually, because I've seen the videos and there's plenty of seats being put in there. So yeah.
Maybe they're just making it look pretty, putting seats in it, get everyone excited, but they're too skint to put any toilets in there, something like that. Yeah, I actually thought it was going to be ready coming up this season, but that's a long old trek for next season after. But But don't these owners? Is it 777 group or something like that? Am I right? I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, they're sort of bankrolling it, but they're still not buying it. So I don't know what's going on there. So I was just wondering whether this financial issue they've had with the point deduction and all that, is that going to roll on again next year? Is that even possible? I don't know. Could we go the next year and they get another deduction? I don't know if that's... Is that a possibility? I really don't know. Like, I try and follow the finances a tiny bit, but they keep moving the goalposts. It's hard to keep up, really. But again, Dyche, I know a lot of their fans, about 3 weeks ago, a lot of their fans wanted him out, Dyche, because the record this year was like appalling.
It's been abysmal, yeah.
Yeah, it's been abysmal, but he's kept them up. And the state of the club financially and the state of the squad, because it is a poor squad, he's done exactly what the current owners and the new owners want him to do: stay in the Premier League. I think they've got one or two assets. Brantford's probably the main one where other clubs are going to take a look at, and I think they probably will sell. They're going to have to sell one or two, I think. So yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath and being not down there again next season. I think I speak. As you know, a good mate of mine's a Leeds fan. I said, if you go up, whoever comes out the Championship, probably watch more of the Championship this year than I ever have. Whoever comes up, even though we've got 3 teams on 90 points at the top, they're still going to struggle.
Struggle massively.
I'm not saying they're going to go down and be as bad as the 3 that came up last year, because they won't. But I still don't see any of them out of the bottom 6. So, and when you say the bottom 6, it's got to be Everton again, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? You could only see another dogfight.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I didn't know, Josh, you went to Goodison Park and they won again.
Yeah, I'm getting like a bit of a lucky charm, aren't I? Yeah, it was a abysmal game. Like, I'm not quite sure who picked that one for Sky, but yeah, I'd like to see the viewing figures from that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I sort of drifted off through it, and like I did a few other things, and then was in anticipation for this video game that's coming next. Right, a couple of comments. City are a different class, in my opinion. They have supreme. It's all in City's hands now. If they slip up now, A, I'll be livid, and B, I'll be really, really surprised. You know, with Spurs putting up their kids in the middle of May, which was going to be the slip-up game. It ain't going to be anymore, I can guarantee you that. But I just can't see, unless we pull up some final day drama at the Etihad. I think the only drama for us is either going to be not finding the parking space or finding a decent pub. That's the only drama on the final day. Are we going to cause a problem to Manchester City? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's going to be a good day anyway. That, Sean, is going to be the final day of singing Champions of Europe. We know what we are. We'll then revert to sporadically singing Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that. Impressed?
What team are you going to sing that to, though?
You.
We won way more in Europe than what West Ham have.
On repeat. We're just going to sing it on repeat to all the clubs that haven't won in Europe. That's what we're going to do.
You need to stop these like bantery songs which you laugh at yourself at a little bit and start taking the game a bit more serious and demand a bit more.
Oh, well, you walk out to when the Saints go marching in, so I'm not really, having too much of a fuss about that. Oh, and honestly, I sat there yesterday and went, I've been there twice. It's like, and now you got a guy on a trumpet. He was up on top of the blooming cock up there on there.
I think that's one of my favourite things of the season. The bloke, the trumpet.
Oh God,
it's class. It is.
It's not. I prefer going down to No. I prefer going down to St Mary's. They've got like the pensioners band that walk around the blooming pitch going, oh, and the Saints. At least it's their own song. At least it's their own song.
Not their song. It's an American gospel song.
But they took it, didn't they? It's Southampton's song, and then you've went, oh, we'll have it as well.
No, that's not true. You need to do your research there. A little bit of research. You get your answers.
Still their song, though, isn't it?
No, just because it's Saints in Southampton doesn't mean it was their song. They're a small club. Tottenham are a big club. Let's not forget.
Here we go. Next up, Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 2. Josh, I'm a bit annoyed with you, to be honest.
Yeah, I've one of the worst performances of the season, really. Obviously, they beat us in the FA Cup a couple of months back and at home, and I thought this was a similar type of performance, to be honest. They absolutely controlled it from start to finish. First 10 minutes, we come straight at the blocks flying. We could have had 2 or 3 in the first 10 minutes, but after that, we didn't sit in. We never sit in. We always played the high line, but we sort of just invited pressure. The attack was on top of the defence. No one was pressing at all. We were just inviting pressure, really. First half, it wasn't great, but we had a 2-0 lead because we were clinical. We took our chances. And into the second half, it didn't get any better. Jordi Tielemans going off first half as well sort of left us down to the bare bones. We've now got just 2 midfielders, available midfielders really, McGinn and Louise. We've got Idabunim, but he's probably not ready yet. He's a young lad who was on loan in the Championship last season. So basically, we've got 2 in the middle of the park available. And then Martinez going off at half time as well. Didn't help. Looks like that's a hamstring, so he could be a couple of weeks now. And as soon as Olsen goes in goal, everyone gets a bit nervous, including our back line. They're not as confident passing to him. They're always just looking. They look at him and they turn the other way, just putting pressure on the whole team. I don't think he's that bad of a keeper, but it's just with his feet, he's so poor. And when we're playing against a team like that, who's like a high press team, it's never ideal. And as soon as Chelsea got the first goal, we knew they'd have the momentum. We probably weren't going to win. But yeah, you wouldn't think we were 4th and they were 10th or whatever they are, because they absolutely controlled the game from start to finish. We didn't really have a kick, to be honest. And we were unlucky not to lose. As for the disallowed goal at the end, people are saying, oh, biggest robbery of the season, whatever. Oh, I'm not even a Chelsea fan. Biggest robbery of the season. Well, it's a foul. Joe Cole and Glenn Hoddle even said it on TNT after the game. It's a foul. It's a push in the back. Anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. I said it straight away after the goal went in. Carlos has gone to edge the ball and he's pushed him in the back, which means he can't head it. Like, it's a foul at the end of the day. And Pochettino is going, oh, I think even Aston Villa fans would be angry at this. It's a foul. If it was the other way around, then you'd be saying it's a foul. So it's not the biggest robbery of the season. Anywhere else on the pitch, the ref gives that as a foul. So at the end of the day, he's pushed him in the back and it's a foul. I'm not saying we deserved to win the game. We were absolutely outplayed, and we deserved to lose the game, but that was a foul. And I don't really get how people are saying it isn't. He pushed him in the back. If he doesn't push him in the back, he's gone to head the ball behind. So, yeah, that's my mini rant over. But no, as for the game...
No, I think that's fair. Now, look, the way you've got to look at it is, if the push wasn't there, does he head the ball? Probably. So it's impacted in that. I initially looked at it, I think from the 2 angles they showed, I think it showed quite different sort of perceptions of it. And listen, I see why they've disallowed it. I really do. Would I be annoyed if it was against me? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's quite because of what it is and the sort of perceptions around it. I get why people have said it's soft, but it's a foul at the end of the day. And he's impeded Carlos, whoever it was. And I think they came to the right decision in the end. Chelsea did their moan. I did chuckle when it was disallowed just because it was Chelsea. And look, that's it. I think it was a foul. I think VAR came in and did the right thing, as he did a couple of times this weekend. And we can sit here and slag him off, but a couple of times this weekend, VAR have come in the Tottenham game. It came in, it did it quickly, and it did what it's there to do, and it did it quickly. So look, yeah, I was not too displeased with that VAR decision. I thought it was right, and in the end, they feel disappointed with that. We'll move to the North London derby next. Spurs 2, Arsenal 3. Sean, I sat there at 3-0 and I thought, Christ, if Arsenal really turn on it, this could get quite nasty, because I didn't think Arsenal were fantastic, actually. I thought it was quite even in that first half. They just took their chances. At the beginning of the season, if you lost a game, there was the novelty of we play attacking football. I sense within the fan base that's starting to wear off a little bit, and frustration is growing with the inability to change things.
A couple of different ways to look at this. A broader thing on the season, Tottenham now are about roughly where I predicted they would be on this show and to many people. with or without Kane. Even before we had him, I said we'd be up there without him. Most of the media and a lot of your people on here probably laughed at me when I said could be a surprise package. So we're probably done better than most of you thought. Let's be honest. That's the broader thing. So in fact, this is his first season when the likes of most of the league have had 2-3 seasons on him. I don't think it's been a bad season at all. It's been very much a learning process. On the flip side, it's still at very early days, but we're conceding some very, very, very familiar goals. Set pieces were appalling at defending them. And by chance, Arsenal are the best in the league. That's fact. So you put them two combinations together, I think you see why would they get 2 goals from set pieces. And at the end of the day, that spanned the game, really. 3-0 looked harsh. It wasn't a 3-0 half.
No.
It was a bit. Remember, you had a little spell about 6 weeks ago where you had a month of these very marginal decisions, which could be down the perspective, go either way, and you felt you were hard done by on about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think we probably had 3 or 4 in this game alone. I'm not going to sit and cry out, that was a penalty, so they shouldn't have scored their goal. That was a push, blah, blah, blah. But another day they're given. Do you know what I mean? I think we might have paid the price a little bit on a few decisions of being a bit too honest. I didn't watch Match of the Day 2 last night, but apparently they said that the little trip on Kulusevski should have been a penalty to us, which would have ruled out their goal. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's definitely a penalty, but you see them given. The offside, it's one of them very tight ones that you can't tell by the lines. Another day,
I thought it was level, to be honest. I thought it was level. I couldn't see it on the offside.
So what I'm saying is, and there's, I think another one's doing the rounds of, we've seen the Romero header at the back post. I think it's Gabriel, a party pushes him. Again, that might be an example of being a bit too honest because he still gets the header and hits the post. If he misses the header and doesn't get the ball, it's probably a penalty. So we had a few which would have made it maybe a bit more of an even game. Because we made it look even at 3-2, but I just think they got them sort of very 50-50 decisions, which could easily swing either way on the day. I don't think we played bad. I think Ange got a little bit wrong with his starting lineup. The few there I wouldn't have gone with. Obviously, we're missing our left back, and we've got no. I've said before, this season we've got no left back cover. So our left back's been class. He's been one of our better players once he's out, especially in this style of play where he wants the wing backs or full backs to push on like wing backs. Ben Davies is not that. Do you know what I mean? He's just not gonna do that. But yeah, this season's always been more about next season. Like I said, always seeing in the last 6 weeks as players we're looking at next year. I don't know if they're watching us or Arsenal, but the 2 lads at Feyenoord were in the crowd watching, the strikers at Jimenez. So I don't know whether for him or whether Arsenal are, but they were there, him and another Feyenoord player. But yeah, sort of Champions League's always nice, but I don't think the team is ready for that anyway. Remember I said to you last week about you shouldn't want Europe because if you're going to rebuild, it can backfire a little bit. That's maybe the same with Tottenham. We're not ready to compete with the big guns in the Champions League yet. Even if the Champions League this season, I don't think has been the strongest Champions League. It's just teams a bit further down the line. Does that make sense? I think was it Kulusevski or Van der Ven? One of the other came out today and said the gap between Tottenham and the Arsenal is not big. It's not that big on class and quality and quality of player. At the moment, they've just got that little bit more know-how and maybe a little bit more experience. So I think that has probably summed up the game, and that's probably in the end of the day why Arsenal got it over the line. We're probably a little bit of a young team and a little bit naive at times. Again, they didn't catch us up with it yesterday, but that diagonal ball I keep telling you about with the full backs are out of position. Little things like that are we got to protect the keeper on a corner. Do you know what I mean? That's naive. So it's little bits and bobs. But if we finish 5th or 6th, as I said at the beginning of this little mini rant, that's ahead of where a lot of you West Ham fans thought we'd be. It's ahead of where a lot of pundits would have put us. It's where I would have put us because I could tell in pre-season we were going to give it a go. And you take Harry Kane, I still think he's the best centre forward in world football. Take him out of the Tottenham team for the first season in a rebuild, 4, 5, 6 new players. I think 5 or 6 isn't a bad effort, really. 5th or 6th, good effort.
Yeah, just in terms of those decisions, I actually agree with the 50-50 element for the trip and for the offside. I thought you were relatively hard done by in that sense. It's just the Vicario one that people have sent round. I mean, clubs have identified that he's not strong with commanding his box, and they're just putting a man on him. We did it when you came to our place at the start of this month. Clubs are starting to do it, and Ben White just stood there, and I don't think he can cope. There needs to be some protection there. I mean, what Ben White did wasn't a foul. If that's a foul, we're going down a slippery slope of no corners actually being completed because people are just standing in a box at the end of the day. I think that's where an issue lies in that sense. But I think put a man on there to try and get rid of Ben White, absolutely. But that's what clubs are just going to do because they're going to look at things and just.
I think that one's a tricky one, to be honest, because I agree it'd be soft, but I think it probably was a foul if you're going down the laws because he literally, he pushed his backside out and backed in. You're not allowed to. It looks soft, but you're not actually allowed to do that. Do you know what I mean? You can stand your ground as soon as you move to push a keeper out of the way. But the bigger problem for me is not that. It's the fact that because he's zonal marking, it means he's not man marking the player doing that to the keeper. That's the naive problem. It's not. Because we've had it a few times. Is that a foul on the keeper? And again, it's down to perspective. Sometimes you'll get it. We've had it. I think Man City were the first ones to do it in the 89th minute in the FA Cup. I think they did it by actual chance. It wasn't because no one targeted all season. They did it by chance, and then the likes of Everton, yourself, picked up on it. And the teams have had goals disallowed by doing it too much. But as soon as Ben White makes that movement, it probably was a foul because you're not allowed to do that. But I agree, it is soft, and I'm not blaming Vicario. I'm blaming more the tactics defending set pieces because defending set pieces, whether a player's on the keeper or not, or whether it's just bad marking, we've conceded a lot of goals from set pieces. That can't be ignored.
Yeah. Let's see some comments before we move on. Can we get can we start a petition to get Gary Neville removed from commentary? He was worse than usual during that Spurs Arsenal game. I'm a bit different from the rest. I actually quite like him on there. The way he was, you can tell the more it went on, the more he got engrossed in it, like the oohs and the he's headbutt him. I quite like that actually. It was more like the reactions down the pub, and do you know what? I don't mind that. I quite like Gary Neville's attachedness to it. Rob Hawthorne was a nice change on there. We had to wait till 4:30 for the poetry of Peter Drury yesterday, and I don't mind it. Alan Smith, on the other hand, Jesus Christ on a bike. Alan Smith, that is somebody that I cannot get behind. He's a terrible commentator. He is. And I was thinking, as soon as he said Rob Hawthorne, I thought it's going to be Alan Smith. If they put Alan Smith on that Spurs Arsenal game, I'd have it mute because honestly, Alan Smith on an Arsenal game is one of the worst things you will ever listen to. Terry turned over to Ramsey's kitchen nightmares at half time. Fair enough. You could argue it was an absolute kitchen nightmare. That doesn't work, doesn't it? A nightmare, was it? I don't know. Right, let's carry on our merry way. 2 games left. Let's rattle through them. Bournemouth 3, Brighton 0. Oh, no, I want to put that back on. Josh, Brighton. And Bournemouth, a point off of us.
Yeah. Brighton, they've had a bit of a mare, haven't they? I don't think De Zerbi is going anywhere because I think they didn't score 1 goal this month, and the only goal they scored was an own goal against Burnley where it rolled under the goalie's foot and went in. Every other game they scored 0, so that sort of just sums up Brighton this season. Last season they were scoring for fun. This year they sort of dropped off a bit. You think if the second half of the season they'd have a bit of a good run like Newcastle since they're out of Europe, but they just haven't. So now they've also suffered with injuries. Matoma, I think he's out for the season. He's been out for a while. Estupinan's been out the side. And Ciso, Ansu Fati, these good players have all been out. But you'd still think with the quality of players they've got, finishing 6th last year, they'd be doing a bit better. But the things with De Zerbi, it's a bit like Ange Ball, where it's just always goes for it. No matter who you're playing, game management quite poor. And yeah, I think they're down to about 14th now. So all the rumours about Zerbi going to Man United and Liverpool, they seem to have gone a bit quiet. So yeah, Brighton, I think they'll probably stick around this sort of area now, and they're not going to spend massively hardy. So I can't see them getting into Europe again anytime soon. Before maybe this year they might have had a chance at conference, but I don't think even that's mathematically possible now. So yeah, it's been quite a poor season for Brighton, but I think they were getting booed off as well yesterday. But I think they need a reality check really. I think look where you were a few years ago in the Championship, and they're still playing an attractive brand of football. You had a year in Europe, that you would never imagine that a few years ago. But yeah, it's been a poor season for them. As for Bournemouth, yeah, they've I seen they've broken the points tally record yesterday with 3 games to go still. So Iraola has done a great job. Into the top half now. I don't know whether you could still get Europe. I think they're a couple of points off, aren't they? Maybe 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's been a great season. Again, they were picked to be in the relegation battle after 10 games. We've done about 4 points, something like that. So yeah, they've massively turned it around. Alex Scott as well, who's always been saying is the next Grealish. Looks like he's finally found some fitness again now and is playing quite well. He looks like he's going to be a great player. Clive Hurt as well. They've got some good players. I think teams like them and Palace, they could be up there next year pushing for some sort of like last European places. Especially if Bournemouth, now they've got new owners now, they could throw a bit more money at it again. So yeah, it's been a great year for Bournemouth, but yeah, I sort of forgot about this game existed because I was watching the Spurs Arsenal game. But yeah,
Spurs Tottenham game, they would have done well to do that, Josh. But but no, I think Brighton, it's been a culmination of factors really. Europe has caught up with them, which I expected it to. They've had injuries, as have everybody. I suppose you could chuck that in, and I just don't think they've quite been good enough. And they've been exposed in the past few weeks. They got battered against Man City, which most clubs do. Midweek, and then to lose like this away from home at Bournemouth, it doesn't look great on Roberto De Zerbi, and I think they've just limped over the line. What, 11th or 12th in the league now, I think, Brighton. And in terms of Bournemouth, fair play to them. Little soft spot for Bournemouth. I hope they don't finish above us, but decent little club. And most of us, I mean, Sean's definitely on the beach. We'll be on the beach after we beat Chelsea next week, because regardless of the situation, we want to beat Chelsea. So we can get the beach towels out after next Sunday. But Josh, they're firing on. I mean, somebody's put in the chat here. All the teams involved in Europe, and are getting a bit leggy, except Villa. They still seem to have energy for both competitions. Well, the thing that decides that is the fantastic European competition that they're in, the Europa Conference League. I mean, it's just magnificent, Josh.
Yeah, it doesn't get bigger.
Exactly.
I got a question for Josh.
Go on then.
What would you take right now, winning the Europa Conference League or 4th spot?
Josh, you know the answer.
I'm going to say 4th.
Oh!
He's gone down the North London 4th the trophy.
Big 6.
Oh, he's gone down the North London 4th the trophy. Oh, no.
No, I think if you give me like the FA Cup or something over top 4, I'd say that. But I'm not right. I would love to win the Conference League and it's a European trophy, but it was made 3 years ago. Like
Josh, you devastate me. You absolutely.
If they win it, will they put it in the tunnel next to the European Cup? No,
I can't listen to this.
In a Champions League where it could be the difference between having to sell a star player and not, and be amongst Europe's elite, than win. I'd love to win the conference. It's a European trophy, and I've never seen us win anything. But at the end of the day, it was made about 3 years ago, and you'd expect us to win it. With the team.
So let's get this straight, right? So you've never seen Villa win anything in your lifetime, Josh, right? You'll have a brilliant 3 days in Athens or wherever it is, memories for a lifetime, or you're preferring to, I mean, if we're being totally honest, go around Europe, take a couple of batterings, maybe finish 3rd, or it's in a new league table, whatever, but not have the best time, but you get the Champions League music at Villa Park. That's what you're taking, yeah?
I won't be in Athens. We'll get about 5,000 tickets like you did, unfortunately. So
did Villa win a trophy when they came out the Championship a few years ago?
We got the playoff final.
There you go.
But I'm not.
Oh, you're not telling me that's bigger than the Conference League, Sean.
It's a big
stop.
day out at Wembley. I bet Wembley was packed, bouncing.
Yeah, I was at that one. Yeah.
You even get a trophy finishing second. I've seen Derby have a
I
picture.
see Derby got one.
Trophy.
I saw that one. What is going on? They got a trophy second, but second in League One. But no, I think.
Christ on the back. Right, okay, let's move on.
I only wanted a quick answer. You had to defend his answer. Forfeit is.
Forest gave it a damn good goal. Come on to that game next. Sounds like a great atmosphere at City Ground again. Good club. Hope they stay up. Whenever I think of Forest, we were there, what was it, 2 years ago when they came, their first game back up, Nottingham Forest. That's the best atmosphere I've ever experienced in my life. Their first game back in the Premier League for donkey's years, and they loved it. And it was about 36 degrees that day as well. It was baking in Nottingham. But anyway, here we are in Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester City 2. We'll round this off quickly because Sean's probably ordered a Chinese or an Indian. Anything of the sort, Sean? What's on the menu tonight?
No, my wife's waiting for me to drop a load of boxes to the new hair salon we're opening. So,
hang on, we're opening. What?
Well, yeah, I'm sort of involved.
What are you? A hairdresser, hair salonist?
No, I'm gonna be. I don't know. I haven't got a job title yet, but I'll think of one.
I'll think of a job title.
It's a big deal. We've got a big opening soon, so we've got going. We've got some builders and a plumber coming tomorrow, so we need to go get some sinks and stuff. I think we've got a 60-inch TV to go on the wall for the football. So,
so that's your element of it then.
You're right in there.
Right, finish things off then. Forest 0, Manchester City 2. Sean.
Yeah, I think someone just wrote in the chat a minute ago they like Forest as a club, and I will agree with that. That the City ground's always a bit like one of the old girls of football. The atmosphere's always brilliant. It's just a shame for me. I think the owner's a bit of a prat. I think since he's come in, remember that he came in a couple of years ago and bought about 300 players, and he's hired and fired a bit. He was almost giving me feels that the Watford owners a little bit for a brief spell, and obviously they've chucked the toys out of the decisions with the PGMOL. So I'm wobbling a bit with Forest. I like him as a club. He's just one of them, and I just think is he Greek or something like that? I can't remember. Yeah. Is he Greek? Yeah, I just not sure. Certain owners come in. I'm not sure they get our league, if that makes sense, or if they get we can chuck our toys, but there's a little bit of etiquette because we're the English top flight. But I think you've got to be a bit more classy than what he brings to the table. But yeah, City got the job done, and I keep looking at the fixtures remaining where teams might slip up. I think Arsenal have got Man U. I got a feeling it might be at Old Trafford as well. I could be wrong. I know United they've been pretty poor, but you'd think that'd be a game where Ten Hag could just get a little bit of credit back by just not losing to them. Do you know what I mean? That wouldn't shock me. Man City, obviously they've got us. You said that was the began and you. There's been a lot of things doing the rounds. You might have spotted them. Tottenham fans. What do you want the result to be against City?
Oh, it's a no-brainer, surely.
Yeah, I'd put the over 35 team out if it was me. I'm not bothered in the slightest about that. Champions League would be gone by then anyway, and I'm amazed there's a bit of a gap below us. But to be honest, we have been quite inconsistent. That no one has really bridged that gap. If you look at it there, but City, it's weird because everyone keeps saying, in the business end this time of the season, they're just relentless and they can win every game. I'm still not convinced. They just don't. There's something about them this year.
They're limping over the line, aren't they?
I'm just not 100% convinced they're going to do it. I'm just not. I'm not there yet. I'm really not. I've watched a little bit of Arsenal lately. As I said, I've got some very good friends, and I watched a few Arsenal games with them for a strange reason. I watched it with them. But who was it? When they went out to the Champions League to Bayern Munich in past seasons, especially last year, that would have derailed them. And I can't remember. They come out in Wolves, wasn't it? Was it Wolves away? They come out and got the job done. Then they come out at Chelsea and pummeled them. Obviously, beat us. So they've learned. Whether that's the impact of like a Rice, a bit more of a leader in the field, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not fully sold on City winning the league at the moment.
Sean is not convinced. Well, I mean, the bizarre element of it is that come the 14th of May, if Spurs somehow do manage to win that football match, there's going to be more Tottenham fans annoyed that they've won it than there will be happy. Could you imagine that scenario? You'll be on Twitter going mental, Sean, because Arsenal are going to win the league and you've just beaten Man City and you've handed the title to your North London neighbours. Could you imagine the series of events that lead to that?
Yeah, it'll give them a little bit of banter to bash us with, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
It would. It would.
Yeah, let's see who we are by them, because we've got Chelsea on Thursday, and I actually think Chelsea are looking a better and better side each week. They just can't seem to finish. Then we got Liverpool Sunday, which will be a strange game between two sides. Probably a one eye on next season, both of them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, by the time we get to City, I'll be surprised if Villa haven't chalked up another little win here and there. Do you know what I mean? So that Champions League spot would be well in. I think we've got 3 games in hand on Villa, but I think that'd be long gone by the Man City game. And whether the likes of United or anyone else can catch us for 5th, well, I'd probably not, if I'm honest. But
I doubt it, yeah. Well, Josh, you're going to get your wish by the looks of it. You're going to get your 4th, and just whether you're going to get your Conference League that you've just sat on here and tarnished as a disgrace for the last 15 minutes. Sean sort of smiling. You've been turned to the dark side. Sean, there's been some rather uncomplimentary comments about your salon you're going to be opening up. Do you want me to read him through?
Go on then, mate.
Is Sean advertising the salon with that stylish barnet? What's your response to that?
That's, for my age, that's a very impressive barnet.
Yeah, and then also comes Sean's hair is has more of a high line than the team he supports.
That's a good effort. I'll give him that one.
I tell you what, though, that's a fair old shift for the age of 29 that you are. You've got a decent head of hair on you.
I wish I was 29, mate. I really do. Really do.
Josh, any final thoughts? Don't make it about the Conference League or 4th.
Not really, to be honest.
He's done. Sorry, Josh, I've abused you a bit too much there. Thank you very much, Josh, as always. Sean, pleasure as always. We've got a couple more weeks left in us. Then I permit you all to have a break from seeing me every Monday night. I'm sure you're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, then we got to think about the Euros.
Oh my God, brilliant! That will just.
And you West Ham fans will be crying about Bowen getting on the plane. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Thank you very much indeed for watching. Drop a like on the video. Thanks to everybody in the chat for your input tonight. Great banter as always. Sean and Josh, I'll see you next week. But until then, coming on, we've got Sean. Are you? Will you be at Froome Town on Wednesday night?
I don't know, mate. I was there. When was it? Saturday. I had a bit of a howler. Obviously, they could have won the league, but it all went sort of wrong. We were being outplayed at 3-1, so I thought, sod this and go, and then it was 3-3. So I missed the comeback. So I missed that one. I'm not sure yet, mate, to be honest. My lads, my lad plays in the Froome Town under-14s team. They've got 3 teams. He's in the best team, and they're going for a treble. So I've got to sort of. I'm juggling watching him play and him train with other teams, to be honest, at the moment.
There we go. Fair enough. I'm going to amend that from my content manager. 3 vlogs this week. We'll be at Wincanton tomorrow night for their playoff. We'll be at Froome on Wednesday night for their playoff. And then we'll be at Chelsea on Sunday. So 3 vlogs this week. You'll be sick of me by the end of it. But I will see you all very, very shortly. Thanks everyone in the chat. Josh and Sean, pleasure as always. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye. See you later. Cheers.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.